Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Battle Through the Heavens Part 179 based on novel. So let's start. A terrifying firestorm whizzed across the sky. Its frightening temperature vaporized all the moisture in the air almost instantly. A dry heat rolled through the air. Some weaker individuals felt the blood in their bodies become boiling hot. Bang! A muffled sound was suddenly emitted from within the firestorm, and a figure wrapped in flames shot from the sky like a cannonball. The figure's miserable screeches reverberated by everyone's ears. Hearing this voice, that fire figure was that pompous fourth Tianzuan from the Hall of Souls. At this moment, this great Tianzuan was showing signs of turning into roast pork. Bang! The fourth Tianzuan violently shot into the abyss filled with the blood sea in front of many pairs of eyes. A frightening temperature spread, causing the sea of blood to bubble. Finally, it rapidly shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye. The sea of blood completely disappeared within a short 10 seconds. The rushing sound of wind appeared in the sky as Xiao Yan's figure appeared above the deep abyss in a ghost-like fashion. His eyes were indifferent as he stared down. The 3 attacks from earlier had definitely seriously injured the fourth Tianzuan. If the fourth Tianzuan was unlucky, it was not impossible for him to die on the spot. One must get rid of grass from its roots. Xiao Yan's eyes flickered. He suddenly clenched his hand and a purple-brown fire pillar with a hint of white shot from his palm. It penetrated the deep abyss and ruthlessly struck onto the spot where the aura remained. Bang! The somewhat moist soil of the abyss was grilled to a rock-hard material wherever the fire pillar passed. The fire pillar caused the deep abyss turned into rock, and wave after wave of high temperatures continued to radiate from it. At the edge of the fire pillar, the fourth Tianzuan, whose skin had completely disappeared from his body and was now a complete mess of blood and flesh, opened his eyes in a frail manner. He moved his finger, and a jade token appeared in his palm. He subsequently shattered it with all his strength. A spatial black tunnel immediately appeared beside the fourth Tianzuan the moment the jade token broke. A suction force surged from the tunnel and swallowed his body. A ray of light shot into the deep abyss the moment the fourth Tianzuan disappeared. After which, the glow appeared at the spot where the fourth Tianzuan had been standing earlier. The figure that appeared from the light looked at the remaining spatial distortion, involuntarily frowned, and muttered, "He's really quick to escape." Xiao Yan had not expected the fourth Tianzuan to endure so many blows. He was still able to hang onto a breath and live despite suffering so many powerful attacks. However, Xiao Yan was not anxious despite having failed to kill the fourth Tianzuan. Even if the fourth Tianzuan were to recover from his injuries, a sequela would definitely remain. It would be difficult for the fourth Tianzuan to improve any further in the future. On the other hand, as long as Xiao Yan was given some time to train, it would soon be an easy matter for him to randomly kill the fourth Tianzuan the next time they met. Xiao Yan gently exhaled. His face vaguely contained a paleness. The exhaustion from continuously fighting 2 Hall of Souls Tianzuans and displaying Tien-class Do skills numerous times was a little too much for him even though he possessed a quasi-Tien-class Qi method. If he continued to squander his Do Qi, he might not be able to endure the strain. The danger of the Yang alliance can be considered resolved. Xiao Yan flapped the green-red bone wings on his back. He flew out of the deep abyss and appeared in the sky of the outside world. With a sweep of his eyes, he noticed that the experts from the Hall of Souls and the profound lion sect were still fighting. A cold snort sounded as he flicked his 10 fingers. 10 extremely hot fire pillars shot from the tip of his fingers. They zoomed across the sky and ruthlessly smashed into some experts. Bang bang. Low and muffled sounds appeared as sharp screeches rang out. Those ordinary elite Dozans ended up spitting out blood and withdrawing because of Xiao Yan's random attack. The frightening heavenly flame was just like maggots in their bones as it lingered on their bodies. It was useless regardless of what Do skill they used. Hence, many experts hurriedly fled in panic with flames covering their butts. Some of the Hall of Souls experts understood that the situation was hopeless after witnessing this attack. They did not dare to remain any longer as they formed their black fog and quickly fled. Alliance Chief Xiao, Please show mercy. All of us were forced into this. Some of the experts and sects that had been threatened or lured over by the Hall of Souls hurriedly cried out in panic. None of them had expected Xiao Yan to be this fierce. He had relied on his own abilities to finish off two experts with unbelievable strength. Thus, they did not dare to resist. Xiao Yan's eyes were indifferent as he glanced at the people who bent with the situation. However, he did not kill all of them. Although all of these people were disgraceful, they did possess some reputation within the northwestern region. Killing them all would not benefit the Yang Alliance's future developments. Of course, he also did not wish to attract spineless individuals. If they were surrendering now, they would naturally turn their backs when facing a strong enemy in the future. Xiao Yang mused for a moment before ordering in a faint voice, "If all of you wish to leave, you will need to exchange a life for your life. Take the lives of those from the Profound Lion sect in exchange for your own." The experts from the Profound Lion sect experienced a drastic change when they heard Xiao Yan's orders. On the other hand, the other factions and experts hesitated for a moment before revealing a ferocity within their eyes. They turned their heads and rushed toward the experts from the Profound Lion sect whom they had been fighting alongside earlier. In a moment, chaotic battle erupted in the sky. This time around, the Yang Alliance ended up an observer to the show. These people are really shameless. Xiao Ding smiled as he watched the fierce and ruthless battle that had erupted in the sky. Xiao Yang was really ruthless. The hands of these people would be dyed with the lives of those from the Profound Lion sect. Both parties would naturally become enemies, and it would be difficult for them to form an alliance in the future. Of course, the Profound Lion sect's strength would greatly decline after being defeated. Moreover, the Profound Lion sect had offended many factions during this war in the northwestern part of the continent. Having lost the protection of the Hall of Souls, the fate of the Profound Lion sect would be quite miserable. In the future, the Yang Alliance would probably dominate this northwestern region alone. The chaotic battle in the sky continued for over 10 minutes. The experts from the Profound Lion sect suffered serious injuries and some even died. Even the army that they had gathered had suffered many losses. Now that no one was commanding them, the army had begun to scatter and flee. After glancing at the sky, Xiao Yang understood that the Profound Lion sect was finished. Such a sect would no longer exist in the northwest in the future. Xiao Yang gently exhaled as he turned around and landed on the wall of the fortress. The entire fortress immediately let out an earth-shaking cheer when they saw him return. The Yang Alliance will not fall. All hail the Alliance Chief. Xiao Yang smiled as he slowly landed on the wall and heard this cheer, which shook the entire fortress. You have become a lone hero again. Kaylin glanced at Xiao Yang and spoke in a faint voice, but the corner of her mouth had curved into an enchanting shape. Xiao Yang merely shook his head and smiled at Kaylin with her razor tongue but soft heart. She was still the same after so many years. Ha ha, Junior Pavilion Chief really exceeds the expectations of others. You were able to finish off that Shuai Zunja. The reputation of this old demon within the Central Plains back then was not inferior to your teacher. However, this person was renowned for his brutalness. The three Hu elders hurried over in a flash and laughed. There was an additional respect in their eyes when they looked at Xiao Yang. The strong were honored, and the strength that Xiao Yang had displayed earlier was enough to get them submit to him. Ha ha, thank you everyone. Once I return, I will definitely deliver the remaining reward. Xiao Yan laughed. It's fine. With Yao Chen's reputation, we don't even need to worry about him eating his words. The elite Dozuns who had been invited hurriedly replied after hearing Xiao Yang's words. Xiao Yang grinned when he heard their replies. Xiao Li and Xiao Ding had already begun to dispatch the army to clear the battlefield. The entire wall was one busy scene. Father is mighty. A crisp voice that caused Xiao Yang's heart to tremble suddenly drifted over while he was quietly sighing in relief. His face involuntarily revealed a brilliant smile. He turned his head and studied little Xiao Xiao, who was waving to him from Kaylin's embrace. A special feeling surged into his heart. He had also become a father. Father will likely be very pleased if he was aware of this. Father, rest assured that I will rescue you as soon as possible. At that time, our family will be reunited again. Xiao Yan softly sighed in his heart. He quickly stepped forward and pulled little Xiao Xiao from Kaylin's embrace into his own. He violently kissed her smooth little face and could not help but laugh out loud when he saw her somewhat bitter expression. Hiss hiss. Little Xiao Xiao's tongue suddenly brightened while Xiao Yan was laughing. A seven-colored figure suddenly shot out. It lingered above little Xiao Xiao's shoulder and joyously extended its snake tongue toward Xiao Yan. This is seven-colored heaven-swallowing python? Xiao Yan was startled when he saw this seven-colored figure. He immediately cried out in surprise. This seven-colored heaven-swallowing python was not completely dominated by me. Its soul used Xiao Xiao's body to reincarnate. As a reward, Xiao Xiao is able to use its strength. In other words, Xiao Xiao has possessed an elite dozone strength the moment she was born. Kaylin softly explained. Oh. Xiao Yan lifted his brows when he heard this. A seven-colored heaven-swallowing python was a peak existence among the snake magical beast. During ancient times, some powerful seven-colored heaven-swallowing python could challenge an ancient heaven serpent. A snake-shaped magical beast of such bloodline was something that even Qing Lin's triple jade-green snake flower pupils could not control. Moreover, a seven-colored heaven-swallowing python at its peak was comparable to an elite dosheng. In other words, there was a seven-colored heaven-swallowing python's strength superimposed on Xiao Xiao's own strength. A person and a snake joining hands. That strength was really quite frightening. Although this seven-colored heaven-swallowing python possesses a limitless potential, it is still a borrowed strength. My daughter will not simply rely on other people's strength. Xiao Yang smiled as an excitement intensified in his eyes. Currently, Xiao Xiao's constitution is at its softest and most malleable. Although I cannot go overboard in an attempt to get her to grow, I will be able to provide her with the most perfect training conditions. Xiao Xiao will be perfect because she was Xiao Yan's daughter. A gentleness surfaced on Kaylin's cold face when she saw the excitement appear in Xiao Yan's eyes as he looked at Xiao Xiao. She valued Xiao Xiao, who was even more important than her own life. Xiao Yan truly treating Xiao Xiao well was the most important thing in her heart. Xiao Xiao's current condition is already very good. She was born with a good constitution because of the Heaven Soul Bloodbone pill that you had sent back. Kaylin smiled as she explained. She involuntarily glanced at Xiao Yan again when she mentioned the pill. She had made up her mind back then. If Xiao Yan dared to forget about the medicinal pill that they had agreed or missed the date he had promised to deliver, she would have no longer contacted him in the future. Her character was stubborn, and she would never regret anything she decided on. If Xiao Yan broke his promise, she would definitely not hesitate to act. At the very most, she would lead the Snake People tribe on a journey away. Fortunately, Xiao Yan had remembered the medicine and the delivery time in his heart. He had even asked Xiao Li to deliver the medicinal pill when he had left the Black Corner region. The Heaven Soul Blood Bone pill might be good, but it is still not enough. Xiao Yan shook his head. With his current eyesight, he no longer thought highly of the Heaven Soul Blood Bone pill. This medicinal pill might still be alright when it came to building a foundation, but it was far from reaching the cornerstone he wanted to set down. Your Snake People tribe has likely never met a true alchemist grandmaster. Hence, you only possess that 3 grades of secret technique. The Heaven Soul Blood Bone pill is at the very most a tier 7 low-grade medicinal pill. It can build one's foundation, but it is far from perfection. Xiao Yan's eyes wandered the busy scene on the wall as he laughed. The Heaven Soul Blood Bone pill might be good, but there are many that are even better. An example would be the mysterious Bodhisattva Foundation Building pill. It is a peak tier 7 medicinal pill and is extremely suitable for Xiao Xiao. However, even I only have a 40% chance of successfully refining such a medicinal pill. I'm afraid that Alliance Chief will have to personally do the refinement, a person faintly made a comment by the side. Xiao Yan's eyes followed the voice and involuntarily grinned. He cupped his hands to that person as he laughed. Grandmaster Ji Yu He, how are you? The person who had just spoken was naturally the Pill King of the Jiomar Empire and the current head of the Yang Alliance Medicinal Hall. At this moment, a couple of elders in alchemist robes were standing behind him. Xiao Yang didn't find them familiar. They probably joined the Yang Alliance after he left, but Xiao Yan's brows were slightly lifted when he studied the gazes of these people. Although their eyes contained a respect when they looked at him, an unknown expression was more prevalent. Alliance Chief, you have disappeared for a couple of years in one go. How free and easy. He cupped his hands toward Xiao Yang and faintly laughed. He felt a complicated emotion in his heart for Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang had stopped his marriage with the Misty Cloud sect back then and had caused him to lose face. Fortunately, he was able to put it behind him, which had prevented him from forming a grudge. Since he hadn't formed a grudge, he agreed to join the Yang Alliance after losing to Xiao Yang in a medicinal pill competition. Although he had joined the Yang Alliance, that failure had caused he to bear a grudge. He had spent these years bitterly training his medicinal refinement skills. He had already reached the level of a high-grade Tier 7 alchemist. There was hardly anyone in the Northwest who could surpass him. With the increase in his strength, he would naturally think about competing again. However, Xiao Yang had disappeared for many years, and he had no means of locating him. Now that Xiao Yang had returned, he could not resist expressing the thoughts in his heart. Of course, he did not have any ill intent. It was just that he, who had always been proud of his talent, was unwilling to admit that he had been defeated by the hands of a person much younger than him. Grandmaster he can be considered one of the top few alchemist grandmasters in the northwestern part of the continent. The Pill Hall has become quite strong under his management and development. Therefore, the Pill Hall has been credited for the swift development of the Yang Alliance. Those few behind him are the elders of the Pill Hall. They are all Tier 6 alchemists and are the top pillars of the Pill Hall. Kaylin by the side introduced. Her pretty eyes vaguely flickered while she spoke. Xiao Yang narrowed his eyes. He was just about to speak when Kaylin's faint voice suddenly appeared beside his ear. The Pill Hall is far too important to the Yang Alliance. Moreover, the Yang Alliance's swift development during these years can be completely attributed to the Pill Hall. Therefore, some of the upper echelons of the Pill Hall have become arrogant. There are even some who think that the Yang Alliance would not exist without the Pill Hall. The Pill Hall has slowly become independent. I am not an alchemist, therefore, my prestige is less than his prestige in the hearts of these people from the Pill Hall. Xiao Yang gently interlaced his fingers and faintly smiled. Too much authority, too important, could not be managed by authority. The appearance of such a situation was not really surprising. An alchemist was superior in the hearts of ordinary people to begin with. Adding the importance of the Pill Hall to the Yang Alliance, the alchemists would ultimately feel superior to the other departments. Even the leaders at the top were not treated as respectfully in their hearts compared to others. The top management of the Yang Alliance like Kaylin, Xiao Ding, Xiao Li, etc. were not alchemists. Naturally, they were unable to get these alchemists to submit to them. Although he was upright, he did not possess the ability to manage his subordinates, which ultimately bred arrogance in the Pill Hall. It looks like the interior of the Yang Alliance is not as united as I had imagined. Such an arrogance cannot be allowed to grow. Otherwise, it will definitely become a cancer to the Yang Alliance in the future. Xiao Yang glanced at he and the few Pill Hall elders behind him. He immediately laughed and said, "The mysterious Bodhisattva Foundation building pill is still acceptable, but it is not the best choice. I wonder if Grandmaster he has heard of a medicinal pill known as First Start Pill?" The words First Start Pill had just landed in their ears when he and the few elders of the Pill Hall revealed a different expression. They exclaimed, "The Tier 8 First Start Pill? Alliance Chief can already refine a Tier 8 medicinal pill?" He was extremely shocked as he stared at Xiao Yang. The Pill Hall elders behind him were a little shaken and full of doubt as they stared at Xiao Yang. He could be considered one of the top alchemists in the northwestern region by being able to refine a Tier 7 high-grade medicinal pill. They had always viewed he as the leader. Although these people had heard about Xiao Yang, their hearts always thought that the current Gu he was the true top alchemist in the Yang Alliance. Tier 8 medicinal pills are differentiated by the number of pill lightning colors. A first start pill should attract a 5-colored pill lightning. Grandmaster Gu He, gather all the alchemists in the pill hall tomorrow. I will be publicly refining a pill. Everyone must be present. Anyone who fails to come will be immediately expelled from the Yang Alliance. When I left back then, I had given the pill hall an authority and an advantage that no other halls possessed, but the pill hall has less than 5 tier 7 alchemists. This is inefficient. Xiao Yan spoke in a deep voice as he looked at Gu He. His heart shook when he heard Xiao Yan's voice suddenly becoming stern. He was an intelligent person. After some thoughts, he immediately understood that Xiao Yan was planning to reform the pill hall. He was aware of the bad habits that had formed in the pill hall during these years, but he had not managed them. Although Kaylin was powerful, she did not understand pill refinement and was unable to gain much prestige in the pill hall. However, the current Xiao Yan was different. Xiao Yan's alchemist skills had already exceeded Gu He's even back then. Since Gu He was able to reach the tier 7 alchemist class, it would not be impossible for him to reach the 8th tier alchemist guru level given his speed. The few pill hall elders behind Gu He faced each other and felt anything but reassured. Even Kaylin had never spoken to Gu He in such a way during these years. However, this alliance chief in front was planning on acting against the most important pill hall. Understood, Alliance Chief. In that case, I will return and gather the members of the pill hall to await Alliance Chief's arrival tomorrow. Gu He helplessly sighed, but he still gave a reply. After which, he cupped his hands together. Only when Xiao Yan nodded did he lead the few elders of the pill hall away. He understood that the pill hall would definitely turn into an uproar when this news spread. Xiao Yan's eyes slowly narrowed after watching Gu He's group grow distant. Is this suitable? Being too rude will likely cause those haughty alchemists to feel some displeasure in their hearts. Cai Lin spoke in a worried manner. She was extremely familiar with the figures from the pill hall. They would occasionally make things difficult for the people who were dispatched to the pill hall. From this, it was possible to tell the practices that had taken root within the pill hall. Displeasure? They are merely ordinary alchemists. You view them too well. An alchemist at such a tier would barely be able to make a living in the Central Plains. One can just hire another if the alchemist leaves. Xiao Yang spoke in a faint voice. He was building a wormhole between the Falling Star Pavilion and the Yang Alliance. He would be able to swiftly travel between the two places. If it was alchemists, he would just hire them from the Central Plains. Given the current reputation he and Yao Lao enjoyed in the alchemist world of the Central Plains, forget about those low tier 1s, tier 7 alchemist grandmasters would swarm over. Moreover, their quality would be many times better than these people who did not know what was good for them. Coincidentally, I am planning to help Xiao Xiao refine a medicinal pill. I will take out the cauldron and refine a pill in the pill hall tomorrow to act as a deterrent. It is time to manage this pill hall properly. Xiao Yang gently patted little Xiao Xiao in his embrace and deeply spoke. The current him did indeed feel quite furious in his heart. It was unexpected that the special authority he given the pill hall back then had become a cancer to the Yang Alliance. Kaylin nodded when she saw Xiao Yang's somewhat gloomy face. She had also been angered by the pill hall many times during these years. However, she had been enduring this anger for the sake of the bigger picture. Now that Xiao Yang was back, it was impossible for him to let this thing slide, especially with his method of doing things. Some elders from the pill hall have yet to appear. Those people are the true thorns. There are 2 tier 7 alchemists among them who joined later on. They are immensely arrogant. Based on some information I obtained, it seems that they once secretly sold a pill hall medicinal pill to an outside source. However, I have not found any evidence and can do nothing, Cai Lin softly explained. A faint sound was emitted from Xiao Yang's nostrils, and a cold glint flickered in his dark black eyes. Being the most important location for the Yang Alliance outside of the Jiomar Empire, there were naturally a large number of pill hall members located in the mysterious Yellow Fortress. Moreover, due to the war, around 80% of the pill hall had been relocated within the branch hall in the fortress. Quite a large commotion had occurred when He had relayed the words Xiao Yan had said back to the pill hall. Things had been too smooth for the pill hall during these years. Adding the importance of the alchemists, their arrogant auras had become even richer. Normally, even Cai Lin did not speak to them this sternly. Although Xiao Yang was the chief of the Yang Alliance, he had been missing for far too long. Some of the alchemists who subsequently joined the Yang Alliance had only heard of his existence from the mouths of others. Hence, their respect for him was naturally far inferior to those from the other halls of the Yang Alliance. The branch hall of the Pill Hall for the mysterious Yellow Fortress was situated to the northwest. There was an enormous region located at that spot. It belonged to the territory of the Pill Hall. This kind of treatment could be considered the best among all the halls of the Yang Alliance. At this moment, a large room within this branch hall had descended into a quarrel. Humph, our chief of the Yang Alliance is really imposing. He has only just returned, but he already wishes to intervene in the matters of our Pill Hall. If not for our Pill Hall during these years, would the Yang Alliance have the achievements it does today? A grey-robed elder in the large room coldly snorted with disdain. There was an alchemist badge on his chest. 7 golden ripples appeared on it. This person was also a Tier 7 alchemist. Grandmaster Liu Chang is right. This grey-clothed elder clearly possessed a great reputation within the Pill Hall. Hence, some alchemists immediately voiced their agreement after he spoke. He was seated in the leader's chair in the large room. He was frowning, but he did not say anything. His pill refinement talent was quite great, but his management skills were a little lacking. There was also a white-haired old man seated beside He was the chairman of the Alchemist Association back then, Fa Ma. At this moment, he did not join any argument in the large room. He merely shut his eyes and acted like he was not hearing anything. Hall Chief you should speak to the Alliance Chief regarding this matter. The Pill Hall cannot be compared to the other halls. Even the Deputy Alliance Chief has not intervened in the matters of our Pill Hall during these years. In return, we allowed the Pill Hall to become the supporting pillar of the Yang Alliance. We are indeed grateful that the Alliance Chief has turned things around this time, but if he really wishes to intervene in the matters of our Pill Hall, chaos will stir. An old man with a pale face and hair that reached his shoulders was sitting on a chair by the side. He also slowly opened his mouth and spoke. He frowned when he heard these words. He glanced at Fa Ma by the side, but Fa Ma ignored him and kept his eyes shut. At that moment, he could only say, the Alliance Chief is also an alchemist. Moreover, his alchemist skills far surpass mine. He is not some layman. Chief you cannot put it like this. The Alliance Chief has been away most of the time. The current Pill Hall is completely different from before. Is the Alliance Chief more aware than us of the various issues we face? That old man called Liu Chang indifferently responded. He smiled when he reached the end before continuing, moreover, refining a Tier 8 medicinal pill is not something that one can simply speak of. Everyone should be clearly aware of this. The Alliance Chief might indeed be strong, but it does not mean that he will be able to refine a Tier 8 medicinal pill. The few of us are all Tier 7 high-grade alchemists. Naturally, we understand the difficulty of advancing to a Tier 8 alchemist guru. The Alliance Chief is still so young. The chances of him breaking through are likely not high. Whether the Alliance Chief can refine a Tier 8 medicinal pill is not something that you should concern yourself about. In any case, everyone should just arrive on time tomorrow. Please do not do anything wrong. As long as you are not guilty in your heart, the Alliance Chief will not do anything. All right, all of you should leave. He frowned and immediately replied in a somewhat impatient voice. Liu Chang and the other elder frowned when they heard he speak. However, they could not say anything more. His prestige was greater than the two of them combined. They immediately cupped their hands, turned around, and led their people away. The large room became empty in an instant when these people left. He waved his hand and dismissed the rest. After which, He turned his head and looked at Fa Ma. He bitterly smiled and said, "Old brother Fa Ma, how do you view this matter? You should be aware of the changes in the atmosphere of the pill hall during these years. You are not very good at managing things. This has resulted in Liu Chang and friend becoming stronger in the pill hall." Fa Ma opened his eyes at this moment. He picked up his teacup and continued in a faint voice, "The old me advises you to not get involved in this. You should be aware of the tactics of the Alliance Chief. He will not be soft when it is time to be vicious. Although the pill hall is important, it cannot pressure the Alliance Chief. It is not out of the realm of possibility to disband it. Additionally, with the Alliance Chief's current strength and eyesight, he might not really think highly of the current pill hall." His heart turned slightly cold. He was aware that Fa Ma was old and extremely experienced. He had showed signs of retiring ever since Liu Chang's duo became stronger and started to manage things. Normally, he did not bother with anything. However, no one in the pill hall dared to underestimate his ability. After all, the pill hall was mostly formed from members of the Alchemist Association. They still respected Fa Ma. The older generation pill hall members were all on Fa Ma's side. This time around, the pill hall is destined to undergo a drastic change. Given Alliance Chief's character, he will not just sit back and allow such a cancer to develop. Fortunately, even though you are not good at managing, you did not get involved in certain matters. Otherwise, I'm afraid that you would have difficulty escaping responsibility. Fa Ma slowly spoke. Now, let's just wait quietly. These people will be unlucky tomorrow. He could only bitterly smile and nod his head when he heard Fa Ma's words. The pill hall quickly became lively when the first ray of morning sun landed on the mysterious yellow fortress. Many alchemists, who had received the order, woke up early and hurried to the pill refinement grounds of the pill hall. Some of the upper echelons of the pill hall like He and Fa Ma were already waiting there. He frowned when he looked at the 100+ alchemists in the square. He did not see Liu Chang or Wu Zhen among them. Those two old fellows are really reckless. His expression was a little cold when he didn't find them. Those two old fellows are too used to bossing people around. No one dared to punish them given their Tier 7 alchemist rank. His heart suddenly shook while he was quietly cursing. He lifted his head, only to see a couple of figures walking through the sky. They appeared in the air above the square in front of numerous gazes. The one leading them was Xiao Yan. "Greetings, Alliance Chief." His group hurriedly greeted when they saw Xiao Yan appear. The other alchemists quickly followed. Xiao Yan's eyes slowly swept over the area below. He slightly nodded. Compared to back then, the current pill hall was much larger. No wonder these troublesome matters had occurred. Xiao Yan's body flashed, and he appeared on a towering stone stage on the square made for pill refinement. He faintly said, "Today, I will take out my cauldron and refine a Tier 8 medicinal pill. Everyone should observe the process. This will benefit you in the future." The hearts of many people involuntarily shook when they heard these words. Although they had heard the news, they still could not resist being shaken when they heard that Xiao Yan was planning on refining a Tier 8 medicinal pill. Across the entire northwestern part of the continent, those who could refine a medicinal pill of such a tier were extremely rare existences. Xiao Yan sat on the stone stage after his words sounded. He waved his hand and a medicinal cauldron appeared in the sky. He rubbed his palms and many medicinal ingredients that were filled with powerful energies floated around his body. "Ha ha, I have arrived a little later and nearly missed the Alliance Chief refining pills." A laugh was suddenly emitted while Xiao Yang was preparing to act. Two elder figures led around a dozen-plus figures over from outside of the square. A grey-robed elder cupped his hands to Xiao Yang on the stage and laughed. Xiao Yang's eyes glanced at this group. After which, they slowly swept over them. A moment later, he laughed. "Since you are here, please take a seat." The corner of Liu Chang and Wu Zhen's eyes twitched when they heard Xiao Yang's calm and emotionless voice. Only then did they sense that this extremely young Alliance Chief was not as easy to deal with as they had imagined. The both of them looked at each other and vaguely felt an uneasiness. However, this was quickly suppressed by the two of them. They were genuine Tier 7 alchemists and could be ranked among the top within the northwestern region. Even a faction like the Yang Alliance would feel a great pain should it lose them. Xiao Yan glanced at this group before withdrawing his eyes. He flicked his finger and a purple-brown flame whizzed into the medicinal cauldron. After which, he waved his sleeve. The hundreds of medicinal ingredients around him continuously charged into the medicinal cauldron with some whistling noises. After which, they were refined by the flame within a short instant. This entire refinement process was extremely smooth and did not even pause once. A vast and mighty spiritual strength slowly spread from Xiao Yan after the many medicinal ingredients charged into the flame. All the alchemists who sensed this spiritual pressure revealed grave faces. A rich respect and fear gradually appeared in their eyes. Liu Chang and Wu Zhen had also sensed it. Their bodies involuntarily quivered. A shock that could not be hidden was present in their eyes. This kind of spiritual pressure was something that only a Tier 8 alchemist possessed. In other words, Xiao Yan had truly reached the Tier 8 alchemist level. What a frightening spiritual pressure! He let out a long sigh as he muttered. Fa Ma by the side also smiled as his eyes glanced at the stunned duo. A cold smile appeared on his face. The days when these two old fellows could act arrogant in the pill hall had come to an end. This video will end here.